quarter way down on page 372 is being masbir, is explaining the Daladotzi Shemavaya. We just finished. And all we describe now, this is in Machshav Akdum B'Da'ak, meaning the very in the marsh of the mind of the Rav, as everything is planned out and foreseen. Not much foreseen as in future, but as in planned out. Obviously, foreseen is not the point here. It's the deeper meaning of he looks and sees until the end of all generations. We don't just mean, as I just said, the Eibusha sees the future. That's not the point here. Far beyond that, Doiris means lines, shudas. We had this in the previous Maamar, to my modern ago. He has already, as we explained at length the last 2 days, already all of the levels are already mapped out l'mayla. This is the limitation, literally the area, the state of the recipient as it is entertained and, as far as God is concerned, formed l'mayla. And the same, first of all, two things implied by that, it seems. Number one, it's nimshach l'mata. Number two, the same model in our mergers gam also l'mata. The person also has this whole process. Tense vidas, etc. Just like we just described this now, the whole emergence of Ishtalshus to begin with. The same model repeats endlessly also in individual worlds. Atzilus itself, that in each process of Hamshacha is to go from one world to the other, the same process again, that's the whole point of it, the same stages of Yudke Vavke. As he demonstrates now in Atzilus, in the B'tchilas Hamshacha, Atzilus Ukemoi, B'mchinas HaKeser. So first you have the level of Keser. So the Hamshacha is from Keser, which is relatively the Ein Sof. And that manifests itself as the Tzimtzum, then it manifests itself. The first Hamshacha from Keser is a Yud, which is Chachma, Shriya Nekuda. That's the Nekuda Shekvelis Pesach Kol Atzilus, which includes all of Atzilus, Gam Keser, and invested in it, B'Pnimius, as we said before, is Leira Keser, which is why after 40 years again, it's all discovered. What? Right, no, it's not a memutza. Not a memutza. A memutza is a direct access. This is after 40 years of avodah. It's not obvious, all concealed. But it's the chiddush that even though there's a shtalshalus, a gvul, that bli gvul is there b'pnimius. Through avodah, we uncover it. Memutza is a natural connection. This is not a natural connection. This is through avodah. And it's not obvious at all. There are bli gvul, there are keses, behel and betachlis, and it's through avodah, to the mitzvahs, and mesiras nefesh, and shuvah, and all the inyanim that's required, which is breaking the mold that we uncover, likewise in the mold of Ishtalshalos, the bli gvul. It's after 40 years of strenuous avodah. It's not after 40 years he wakes up one day and revisits it. Oh, it's avodah 40 years. What? No. Which are the next few words? Shalachin adei avodah to the mitzvahs, mamshichim gam be'ir hakeser.
How do you get from Chachma of Atzilus to avodah Torah and mitzvahs? It seems
through the avodah Torah and mitzvahs, you're saying this. When mamshich the pnimius in ishtalshalus. Now, pnimius is relative. Mamish edens of mamish, and this keser gabi atzilus, which keser carries with it the qualities of bli gvul relative to atzilus. So throughout all of ishtalshalus, the pnimius, the relative bli gvul is revealed in the gvul of that particular level. It's all one hamshacha. The hamshacha bli gvul, and the bli gvul, the infinite, in all of its incarnations. Kesed Atzilus, not matter, Kesed the Bri and Kesed the Yitzir, all of them. What emerges is, therefore, that as a result of Avodah, there's two things, two levels within the Bligvul. There's the relative Bligvul that's revealed in each Olam, and the Amitis Bligvul, Atzmas Ein Sof, too, which is the Pnimius of all of that. As we encounter again and again, everything is integrated, should be integrated, obviously, because Hashem Echad, and all of the entire template keeps on repeating in relatively lower models, but the same template. That's the unity, the thorough unity of all of Elikus. So again, where is it? Avodah there. So לכן על ידי avodah של המצווה ממשיכים גם אל הכסר. Through the mitzvah זה ממשיך אל הכסר in Atzilus. והיינו לפי שגם אל זה כלול בהלם בנקודה, because the same model repeats again, that this oil, which is relatively bligvul to Atzilus, is present behelem in the nekuda of Atzilus. Zeh Beis HaBchinish B'Yud. So, and this is reflected in the two properties of the Yud. You have the Etzem HaYud, the actual letter itself, then the Koitzer Shel Yud, and then there's the little stroke, the crown at the edge of the Yud on the left. Shayud, the Yud itself, in the Kuda, even though the Yud we said is in the Kuda, how do you betzir ois? It has a form. As back to the Moshel, the Rav is distilling, as it were, the whole idea into a formula, which has oisius. Avol Koitzer Shel Yud, but the stroke on top, ain't betzir ois. It's not part of the letter itself. The letter is complete without it. What do these two things convey? The Yud part is already the formula from which will emerge the whole details of the pratim and the madrigas of Atzilus. Therefore, already in that nekuda tzitzir, it has a form and structure because it gives rise to form and structure. The point is, and it's like a klal. A klal, a general principle, has its tzir. A general formula has its tzir. A form has words, but it's general. And from this, there emerges all of the myriads of details. So that's the Yud component of the letter Yud. The whole form that's going to emerge afterwards, Bina and Das and the entire Ishtalshalus, is all contained in the formula of the articulated formula conveyed in the Yud. That's the Yud. However, it's clear. Koitzer Shel Yud, that is already the bligvul, that's the moket. When the kuda shekeleles is eira keser shel amayli mishtalshalus. That's a true nekuda, which doesn't have its tzir, a form of a letter. It's a real point meaning to say it doesn't have boundaries. A point is almost a theoretical thing. The moment you give it some identification, it becomes a line. You make a point with the pencil on the paper, it's not really a point. In that is a point. But put onto a magnifying glass, it's a line already. A point is almost theoretical. It's there but not there. That's the point of a point. The nekuda, the koitzer shel yud, that, however, is invested there, as it were, because of its complete non-form, the bligvul. When we speak about keser relative to Atzilus, it's formless and boundless. What is going on here, which is going on constantly in one guise or another, is the interplay between infinite and finite. And that's extremely relative, completely relative, and repeats itself in endless guises and forms throughout Ishtalshalus. Keser of Atzilus is bligvul lagabe Atzilus, and lagabe Tzimtzum is gvul. It's all relative, and the point is, it's meant to be, because this unity threads through and is manifest in every detail of Ishtalshalus. What unity? The constant interplay of gvul and bligvul, as they are both rooted in Atzmos and ultimately to be united. Let's go further. Kolas on the Kudus Ayud. Yeah, but it's following more or less. Now, we said before said before, the whole point is that he gave us the mashal of the Rav is to be able to constantly draw back on the mashal of the Rav and put things into perspective as to what's going on. The whole point is Hashem wants us to understand the way He works. And so therefore, He makes the process understandable and a reflection of us. To revisit yesterday's question, it seems that what we're saying is, we're all been saying is stuck of the emes, but it comes out like this and it needs to be appreciated. And that is, l'chora, yesh loymar, this is what's going on. Dahainu. At the very outset, as it were, mitzad atzmos, when Ola b'ritzoynai, and you saw Ola b'machshava, and the whole kavon of Dira b'tachtoin, which you learned in the previous Maimer, is the tchilas hakavona that's rooted in atzmos. So there, the Eibishter, this is to be appreciated for no reason, which no reason also means there's no system that begets this, that this is based on. So what does the Eibishter conceive? You and I, Pasha Kipshuta Lamata, down here in a Guf Gashmi, as it were, with all the faculties that we have. And that's not preceded by any process. Like he has to do it this way because of some system. Absolutely not. It's all part of the true choice, the free choice of Atzmos and Mahos, that is not based on anything. So what comes out is the big news here, really, that I guess this is trying to tell us all along, that the whole Ishtarshalos, with all of its nuance and all of these levels of Yudke Vovke, and there's much more, of course, in the whole process of how from Bli Gvul you go to Gvul, it's all, I want a relationship with this Yid like that. So therefore, I'm going to express myself in all of these levels on divine, vastly superior, but at the end of the day, linked to this little Yidale because I want it to understand me. So I decided without any reason, but to be very clear here, no reason and no cheshbon. Yisav HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's no reason for creation, there's no cheshbon for creation. God isn't following some kind of rule, there's not any need. There's no considerations whatsoever. It's pure chiras or atzmos. The David should decide that he wants to dir b'tachtin. What that means is you and I, lamata, having a relationship. That's how it begins, in atzmos. And therefore, working backwards from there, we're going to create a whole ishtalshalos. A whole ishtalshalos with its nuance and discovery and learning and chassidus will be revealed by the Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe, deeper and closer. We get to Mashiach's coming, more will be revealed. They get to know me more and more and more, and it'll happen only before the end of Golos. The whole Seder that's going to follow thereafter is all comes after the first image, as it were, is you and I here.
That's why the Talmud exists already.
Huh?
That's why the Talmud exists already.
That's the Talmud exists already. So the marshal is true. The Talmud Tak exists already.
So what comes first?
The Talmud, that's what we're saying. Even though mitzvah, the actual Seder itself, the Talmud comes at the end. The whole kasha was, what's going on over here? Yeah, the marshal, there's a Talmud in the end, and the Rabbi is relating to the Talmud. Here, Yudke Vavke is creating the Talmud. It's a process how he comes into existence in the first place. Completely, it's completely not the point. The answer is that it is. Because there is a Talmud before. Mitzad, the Chiras Atzmos, there's a Talmud. As for the question that we asked, but the Talmud and the Master are relatively connected. They're not in different universes. It's just vastly superior Seichel. Whereas us and the Eibishter are truly Bein Aroich. How do you invoke a relationship of Rav and the Talmud? That's a question that's to be addressed on its own. A simple question. The whole Rav and Talmud Moshe. How can we apply it to God and man? Rav and Talmud are not they're all part of one world. After 40 years, the Talmud figures it out. And what's the Rav giving? The Rav is giving the seichel that's in his head, and even as he's dressed it up in a very simple story or a formula, but the Pnimius, the way he understands the seichel is in that teaching that he conveyed, which is why eventually the Talmud will discover it. So obviously they're relatively connected. A teacher in a classroom are not from different planets and different what are we looking for? Different
spheres.
Yeah. How does it apply to Hashem and us?
At that level.
Yeah, but so one answer is chelik aleka, but the chelik aleka doesn't have any tzir whatsoever And so, this whole process is nishnageya. But it is part of it. The answer is that it's kind of after the decision. It's post-decision that Eibishter wants a relationship. If I'm going to invest myself in ways that are going to be relative to the Talmud. So Ishtalshalus is part of the decision to express myself in descriptive ways that will, that the, not just the Chelik Alika, that the Yid Lamata with all his limitations will have a relationship with. So in the Moshul, the Rav is the Rav, period. He's hardwired, born that way, and that's who he is. But the Nimshal, yeah, the Eibishter is a Rav. He decided, it's all part of B'chiras HaAtzmos, to express himself with these spheres, with SS spheres and Eirin Sof and all of these things before, because he wants a relationship with the Talmud. So is it Be'erech? Yeah, it is Be'erech. Because he chose it to be Be'erech. He chose to express himself, and this whole system, the whole point of which being that we have the same thing on our human level. As I once mentioned, every madrega that's spoken about in Chassidus, if you have to understand it, you have to have a parallel on the human plane. Otherwise, there's no point. Otherwise, the whole point of it is lost. The whole point is a relationship, and you should understand it as how God works, because God chose to work and express himself the way we are, and why are we the way we are? That is B'chiras HaAtzmos, his Ave, decided this is what he wants. So, as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, there's no big Chiddush of Chassidus, that before Chassidus, it's a very simple, life is simple. There's a heaven, there's an earth. Earth is a terrible place. You come down here to overcome it, to battle it, Yetzer Hara, and boom, one day all will be good, and you'll have your reward up there. It's simple, and that's just purely logical. Spirituality is beautiful, and physicality and sin is terrible. And along the way, would it be so terrible, like you said, like Tevye said, while we're down the Lam Hazeh, to have a little bit of schar down, it wouldn't be so terrible either. And if you're very, very spiritual, you want the schar, in order to be able to do mitzvahs more. You shouldn't have the problems of Pandosa and health, so you can do mitzvahs more, and then earn more reward. That's the before. So this is very simple. Then comes Chiddush Lang and says, no, Perek Lam Bevav in Tanya, that you can't say the Kavan is the Olam Elyonim, because the Olam Elyonim are Ha'il V'lehem Yerida Me'ir Panav Yisbarach. That's all the Yerida. Atzmus is totally beyond the Olam Elyonim. So there's something else going on here completely. He's looking for Tachten. The whole Kavan is Tachten. So it comes out, like we were saying now, like Chassidus brings the Moshe the Lever, this world raises everything up because he is the Tachlis HaKavana. But now we're kind of adding this nuance. Tachlis HaKavana so profoundly that this is in fact first and foremost which God conceives. And then working backwards, as it were, we're going to make an ishtalshalus. In time it doesn't go that way. We come at the end, in time, whatever time means. But in Kavana, in Tzad Atzmos, first is you and I, exactly as we are Lamat and the Guf Gashmi, with all the limitations. A relationship with him, I'm going to make this whole Ishtaush, I'll express myself in all of these ways and so on, so that him and I will be buddies. That we'll be friends, we'll have a relationship. Husband and wife, friends, mother, daughter, all the relationships described in Shir HaShirim. It's all for this commonality that Hashem desires in simple words, a relationship with us. Okay, let's go further and wade through this, but understand this to the best of our ability, all of these madregas, because they're meant to be understandable, because we have the same parallel, and it's all, wow, maybe she's going to this whole business. The whole thing is because he wants a relationship with me. Awesome. Yeah.
This is all Machshava Keduma, or
What described before, yeah, this is all mapped out, Machshava Keduma.
So before that, there was no
Then
even, in Atzmos, we're never talking about any.
In Atzmos was the Bechira for Dirbe Tachtoinim, and therefore, so that's imprinted even deeper. Imprinted deeper even in Atzmos as you and I, but it's not a system, it's just a pure, Ratz and Muchlet. Machshava Keduma Da'ak begins a process, a whole system, and the whole system begins there. Before that, it's not a system, it's inexplicable. Can't explain this. What's Eibishter missing? That in you, it's a dirib, tachtoyin, there's no answer to this. No answer because there's no question, because questions only exist in systems. There's no system, there's no time, there's no... The Seichel recognizes its own limitations. Just the fact that there is Nisava, and by the grace of God, he revealed that to us. Of course, he had to, because how would we know what he wants if he didn't tell us? So he did. But my brother's just telling me now, Rabbi, okay, put this on the tape now. Yeah, I can put this on the tape. That, Manas talks a lot about the whole, his main theme is, quote unquote, the Eibishter's need. And this is created, God needs. Created tremendous backlash and uproar, and I don't know, here's some sites, I don't know what he's looking on. Where's the Makaitis of this, etc. Because it is shocking. Because the perfect God has no need. So then, but his answer comes back with, but there is. So like he said, where does it say so in Torah? God created. Okay, so it's a chosen need. He doesn't like to say the word chosen because we don't know why. It doesn't keep on quantifying it. So that, people are getting bristling from this, but it's a chosen need. But the point is, once chosen, that's it. That's his need. Nisava. Nisava in a way is more than a need. Need I can talk you out, you don't need. I can convince you don't need it. But Nisava, could be I don't need it, but I still want it. It's even higher than a need. Okay, let's go further. Are you guys chazering the Basi Lagani? Tavshin Chav, Tavshin Bem. I should hope so, because the Hashem Tov there, and the Magid, there's many things there. Everything. The Basi Lagani, every Maim of the Rebbe is everything. But obviously Basi Lagani is the Schachus of the Nesius that takes the Nesius to a new level. I told you the story that Yossi Padish told me that Rabbi Yoel turned 92 days ago. We saw that. Rabbi Yoel turned 90. And going strong. Unbelievable. He still reads without glasses. He used to wear glasses. I saw a picture of him at his chuppah. He was wearing glasses, but they got lost. And that was the end of it. Never replaced them. So he just read without glasses. They got broken or something.
He's still writing.
Yeah. It's not traveling too much. But anyway, what was I saying? So Chadakov told Rabbi Chadakov. Some question that Rabbi Yoel had. This was so he told him basically. It depends when you wrote the question, before Yud Shvat or after Yud Shvat. Or he told him to wait something after Yud Shvat. Because after Yud Shvat, the answer before Yud Shvat is one thing. After Yud Shvat, there's a whole level of Nesiyas and the Kavanah Elyoina now expressed in a deeper way, etc. So it can possibly change.
On any given year, you
Yeah, any year. Yud Shvat. And we understand. We understand why? Because that's the Schachus of the Nesiyas. So I'm saying, of all the Maimarim we learned, everything is critical, but the Basi Lagani Maimarim, this is like the mission statement of this year. And these are decades, Tavshin Chav, Tavshin Mem. They're of course all eternal. And Tavshin Pei. So, you have to look in the deeper in Tavshin Chav and Tavshin Mem and discover it there. Like it says here now, the Behelim, the Pnimius, is the whole Atzmis Dika Seichel Arav. And it's 40 years since Tavshin Mem. Okay, let's continue the Ois. Yeah, bro, you have to call us, yeah? The call us, could they say you're the body, they seem to be the because we said before, two-thirds way down, that the Yud, the Yud comes as a result of Simtzum Derech Siluk. Again, in the Moshe of the Rav, what is it? Quickly, it's the Rav. The first stage is what does he have to do?
He's thinking on how to explain
No.
to the students.
No. The first stage with the Simtzum Derech Siluk,
Contraction.
Moving how
he has to not think about the idea the way he does. The Kivin Chatzilus Abein Adech Lagabe Keser. Atzilus is incomparable to Keser, relatively speaking. Sharbetzilus Maschel Inyan Ha'olam. From Atzilus starts the Inyan of Olam, and Olam means world, but Olam also means what? Halem, so to some relative level, you see the idea of relativity so clearly. On the one hand, Olam Atzilus, Olam Achdus, and Tahirahi, and all of the milas, it's still called Olam, because relative to Keser. And Keser is also considered Gvul relative to Eretz of the Tzimtzum, etc. So the Mailim Atzilus, Ein Yin Shal Olam, but Haydn, it says you don't have the Yin of Olam, even though it says Chassidus, these Olam is Ein Sof. It's all relative. There's Aknusis, etc. It's all relative. Like Yossi says, depends what level you're speaking. That's the point. The integration again of the oneness of the Eibish's expression, the system repeats over and over again in these endless guides. So therefore, from Kesset Atzilus, there's also this process of the Yud Kei Vav Kei of the, and therefore the Tzimtzum that precedes the Yud. And then comes Chachma. Continuing his description of Atzilus, it's still unarticulated. It's klolus, like the general principle. But the Eibishter wants tachten, gvul, finite structure. It's not there yet. We're way before that. There are many stages of evolution to arrive at the final product. There has to be entertaining, estimating, literally entertaining the details. Even though Bachlal Atzilus is Achdus, it has structure, 10, has civilization, has civilization, 9 not 10, 9 not 11. Therefore, there's the next stage after the Yud. We need to get down into structure and details, and that is Enyan Ahei de Bina, that's the Hay of Bina. Then it comes down through further, not radical tzimtzum, but filtering. That produces Zah, that's the Vav. And now we're getting further down to definition. Malchus, the parallel being Machshav Dibur Maisa. So the whole process of going, we have to remember one thing. We're going constantly from Bli Gvul to Gvul. And we're going from Bli Gvul to Gvul, and the template is Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. That's the endless template that repeats itself throughout Yishtal Shalos. Tzimtzum, Ispashtus, Hamshocha, and Ispashtus. And the Moshel we can fall back constantly on is the Moshel of the Rav and the Talmud. Okay, so now it starts in a few minutes. Dalet Omdom Av Shadalet Oisis the Shemavayim Mitzamtzim Bimamshichim Misoikanal. You recall this is all to explain the difference between. How does this whole discussion begin? What are we out to explain? The difference between Shem Havai and the other Shemas. The first marshal he gave for it was the difference between the Oisias Achkika and Oisias Aksiva, engraved letters and written letters. Engraved letters, what do you say about engraved letters? On the one hand, there is what? There's letters, there's tzir, but it's inseparable from the source itself. The source is expressing itself with these engraved letters. Whereas written letters, you're actually concealing the object on what you're writing on. The ink covers the parchment. So the Oisias Achkika wants to express this paradox. On the one hand, it's the etzem. On the other hand, there is tzir. So we're trying to address this, how Bli Gvul expresses itself in Gvul. So, and that's the difference between Shemavai and the other Shemas. So, Omdam Afshadal is the Shemavai Mitzmitzamtzim Amashich Meser Kendal. So even though the Dal is of Shemavai, on the one hand, there's this structure. We just defined it now. All these levels: Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. There's not a compromise in the Likus itself. It's the Eibush expressing himself this way. Like letters engraved from within the source itself. So now we're going to explain this very profoundly. What happens with us is, we get, before he gives the Moshel of the Rav, we kind of get it. Then he gives the Moshel of the Rav, and then we have to struggle, which shows we're not really getting it properly. Because the Moshel of the Rav should make it clear. But I'll just give you Bechlolos, as we've said. Bechlolos the difference between Esesvidus and Atzilus. As we're talking about, Yukevavke, the Esesvidus, Chachma, Bina, Zoh, and Malchus. Between, and that and Biyah is the Moshe gave you of the painting. Remember? There's the simple difference. The painting where the artist is standing by the painting, or he's not standing by the painting. When he's standing by the painting, the viewer looks at the painting, since the artist is right there, and you're going at the painting. Not lost on the viewer is the is simultaneously what? The painting and the artist. Your awe and wonder and appreciation is inseparable. The painting is inseparable because he's standing right there, and it's not lost on you. And that's your response. The viewer is going to respond that way. But if the artist is not there, so first and foremost, yes, it's the painting, and then of course, obviously it comes from the artist. So there's the wow to the artist too. That's kind of a secondary appreciation because he's not present there. But the signature is there, and we're not fools. We know where it comes from, and we're coming to everybody's coming to a gallery. What an artist makes? What's it called? He makes an exhibit of this artist. It's not lost on anybody. We're coming to the artist's exhibit. She's not there. It's not there. So it hovers, makif. It hovers in this makif way, which means in this all-encompassing, but not experientially. Experientially, it's the painting. So that's biyah. But of course, in biyah, malachim, the shom is there. The Eibishter calls, it's of course all the Eibishter. But there is a significance attached to, on some subtle level, the art itself. Not so in Atzilus. When he's standing there, when he's explaining his painting, even better. The artist is explaining his painting, what he's conveying, and what he means by it, and how he did it. So there, the appreciation of the art is inseparable from the artist. That's Atzilus. As opposed to Biyah, where the artist is not there. But now we're going to get tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem, in the Moshel of the Rav. We're going to go really deep in the way Seichel works, the way Machshava works. And the point of us to understand this is, the deeper we understand the way Machshava and Seichel works, is to understand the Esesvid is the way in Atzilus and Hayd in Atzilus. It's all meant for us to appreciate the way it works the Maila. So it's both a profound study of the self. That's why Chassidus is psychology to its beyond any discovery that psychology itself could ever make. Because here we're getting the author, the creator, telling us how we work. And how we work is a reflection of how the Eibishter Kavayochel works. So now it's going to be a very deep explanation, probing deeper and deeper in the mind and the way a language works, words work, how letters emerge. There is the final product when you actually speak. So this is hardcore words and letters that can be recorded, written on a paper. And then there's just before you speak, the mind articulates the words, and then tracing back the way you thought about the concept. Again, some original discovery, where it's most apparent, the best illustration, how the original thought entertained it and expressed it even internally to yourself. That's going to be all a moshel for the Svidus in further and greater unity with the Eibishter, the master, the painter at the gallery. His presence even more obvious and more obvious. Okay, Mitzvah Hashem to be visited tomorrow.